is your name, please?
My name is Carroll Writer.
What is your name, please?
My name is Carroll Writer.
What is your name, please?
My name is Carroll Writer.
Two of these people are imposters. Only one is the real Carroll Writer, and is the only one sworn to tell the truth. Now, here is our host, Bud Collier.
Thank you very much. Good evening and welcome once again to Tell the Truth.
Polly Bergen.
My name is Conrad Nagel.
My name is Kitty Carlisle.
And my name is Gardner.
Conrad, nice to welcome you back with us tonight.
Thank you, Bud. It's always a pleasure to be around where you are.
Well, thank you, sir. Didn't mean it quite that way, but we're all happy to have you here.
Thank you.
And now that we found out about you, let's find out about these three gentlemen that you just heard, each one claiming to be Carroll Writer. Only one, of course, is the real Carroll Writer. The other two have merely assumed his identity. And they are the ones who do not have to stick to the truth. Now, panel, will you please follow along with your copies of this affidavit as I read it? I, Carroll Writer, am a former lawyer turned astrologer. My astrological forecast appears in over 200 newspapers and is read by an estimated 100 million people every day. I am often referred to as Starman to the Stars, since I have done personal horoscopes for Marlene Dietrich, Tyrone Power, Dick Powell, Van Johnson, Lana Turner, Clark Gable, and many others. Signed, Carroll Writer. Finally, you heard these three gentlemen all claim to be Carroll Writer, astrologer. Only the real Carroll Writer is required to answer your questions truthfully. You will each question as usual until you hear this signal. At the end of the questioning period, you will be asked to cast your vote for the one who, in your opinion, is the real Carroll Writer. And we start tonight with our special guest, Conrad Nagel.
Well, thank you, Bud. Number one, do you consider astrology a science?
Yes, I do.
Number two?
I do.
And number three?
Yes, I do.
Number one, if astrology is a science based on astrology, can you tell us who is going to win the election tonight, Mr. Harriman or Mr. Rockefeller?
No, I can't tell you because we're not interested so much in prognosticating future events, but in giving you an idea of how to regulate your life by day.
Number two, how would you answer that? Could you tell us who's going to win the election?
No, I couldn't tell you who's going to win the election.
Number three, I was born in March. Under what sign of the zodiac would that place me?
Under the sign of Pisces the fish.
How can you answer that exactly without knowing the exact date of my birth?
I happen to know your birthday.
Kitty Carlisle.
Number one, I was born on September the 3rd. What advice do you have for me today?
September the 3rd would make you Virgo, and I would tell you not to make any important decisions tonight.
How am I going to vote for the real Carroll Writer?
Vote for me.
Number two, do you refer to your friends by their name or by their birth sign?
Whichever happens to occur to me at the moment.
In general, which occurs to you more quickly?
The name.
Gardner.
Number three, I'm curious, exactly what is Conrad Nagel's birth date?
I'd rather not tell you at this moment.
I see. Number two, what band leader is also a famous numerologist?
I'm not a numerologist.
Do you know what band leader is a numerologist?
No, I don't.
Number one, would you know?
No.
Number three?
Vincent Lopez.
Number one, who was Evangeline Adams?
Evangeline Adams was a very famous astrologer around the turn of the century.
Polly?
That was my birth date.
Number one, what is the smallest planet?
The smallest planet?
Mm-hmm. Number two, could you answer that?
Well,
Number three, do you know the smallest planet?
I'm not sure of it.
Number two, could you tell me the two nearest planets to the Earth? The ones that are most likely to cross paths.
well, the course, the moon is the nearest planet to the Earth. We're shooting for the moon.
Okay, panel, that's it. It's time to vote. So without consultation, will you mark your ballot? Selecting thereby number 1, number 2, or number 3. Remember that the team of challengers will receive $250 for every incorrect vote. Okay, panel, have you marked your ballot? Polly, for whom did you vote?
Well, I voted for number 2 because number 1 gave me so many correct answers. I figured he couldn't be Writer, and number 2 is probably not Writer. I'm probably wronger. So
I'm not going to ask you to repeat that. I wouldn't dare.
I couldn't.
Conrad, what about your selection?
Well, with the same kind of logic that Polly has just expressed, purely on a hunch, I voted for number 1.
And your vote, Kitty?
I voted for number 2 because I think that number 2 is the most professional of all the astrologers and gave the fewest answers.
And hi, Gardner, what about you?
Well, I also voted for number 2 for several reasons. Number 3 lost me when he didn't name Conrad Nagel's birth date. Number 1 knew Evangeline Adams, but not Lopez. And number 2 seemed nervous when he was standing up there, and he could probably foretell what was going to happen to him tonight.
All right, there we have it. Astrologically speaking, we have made up our minds, and our votes are in. Now, if you're playing along with us at home, let's see whether you're right or we're right or just who is right, as we discover which one of these 3 gentlemen is the astrologer. So will the real Carroll Writer please stand up? Thank you, sir, very much. Now, number 1, would you tell us who you really are and what you do?
My name is Nelson J. Elliskew. I'm a management consultant, and I'm a president of a management development and training organization in New York City.
And number 3, what about you, sir?
My name is Jack Solomon. I am the director for the Baby Care Counseling Division of the Jack and Jill Diaper Service in Mount Vernon, New York.
Oh, my. Well, in checking things up here, we find the panel did rather well tonight, which makes it not as good for you gentlemen, but still, they all had a good time in proving how right they could be. There was only 1 incorrect vote for $250 from Marlborough. Hope you enjoyed your visit. And on your way out, will you stop and pick up a carton of Marlboros for each of you? In saying goodbye and good night to you, I don't know whether to say good luck or happy horoscopes, but whichever it is, a happy one to you.
What is your name, please?
My name is Kyra Petrovskaya.
What is your name, please?
My name is Kyra Petrovskaya.
What is your name, please?
My name is Kyra Petrovskaya.
Again, panel, will you follow along with your copies of this affidavit? I, Kyra Petrovskaya, was born in Russia, the daughter of a Russian prince. I was raised in Leningrad, where I became a member of the state-subsidized drama theater. During my career as an actress, I gave 3 command performances before Joseph Stalin. During World War II, I was a 2nd lieutenant in the Russian Army and was wounded by shrapnel while on a sniping mission. For this, I received a military medal. I came to this country 10 years ago and am now an American citizen. Signed, Kyra Petrovskaya. All right, panel, these ladies you heard all claim to be Kyra Petrovskaya, former Russian actress and Army lieutenant. Let's start this questioning round with Hi Gardner. Hi.
Number 1, where in New York is there a club called the 3 Guitars? Do you know?
No, I don't go to the club so much.
It's a Russian place. Would you know number 2?
No.
Number 3?
No, never heard of it.
Never heard of it?
No.
Number 3, what type of magazine is a Russian publication called The Crocodile?
It is a humor magazine.
A humor magazine.
Yes.
Number 1, what was Leningrad called before it was named Leningrad?
Petrograd.
Number 1, do you remember what it was called?
St. Petersburg.
Number 3?
Petrograd. The same, St. Petersburg and Petrograd.
Number 3, as a sniper, what equipment did you have attached to your rifle?
Oh, telescopic sight.
Uh-huh. Number 1, what did you have attached?
The same thing.
Number 2?
Same thing.
Molly?
Number 2, talking about sniping, it says here that when you were on a sniping mission, you were wounded by shrapnel. Where were you wounded?
Oh, in Leningrad. I was in Leningrad on a sniping mission where I was wounded.
Number 3, how long does it take? Well, that's what I meant. Number 3, how long does it take to become an American citizen? To get your papers?
5 years.
Number 1, is there any thing that could change the amount of time it would take to become an American citizen?
Conrad?
Number 2, it says here your father was a prince. What was his name?
Vasily Sergeyevich Golitsyn.
Number 3.
Vasily Sergeyevich Abalensky.
Number 1.
Vasily Sergeyevich Shekhovsky.
Number 2, you're now an American citizen. Today is election day. How many U.S. senators will New York State elect today?
Oh, my God. I passed my examination on 51. I don't know. At
Well, it
that
hasn't
time I
changed
knew.
since 51.
Well, but I don't remember everything.
Number 3, how many senators does New York State elect today?
2.
2? Number 1, how many?
2.
I see. It says you were a member of the drama theater. Could you tell me, number 2, who is supposed to have originated the method of acting that we call method acting?
Oh, this is a very famous name everywhere, Stanislavski.
Could you,
Kitty?
Number 1, what plays did you perform in before Stalin? The name of the 3 plays?
Extraordinary Love, Fake for an Hour, and the third was just poems.
Poems. Number 2, what does Berezovsky mean?
Berezovsky?
Yes.
Well, Berezovsky is first of all a Russian name.
No, but it has the players that are coming. I didn't get a chance to ask.
Sorry, it's time to vote.
Not one single thing.
I'm sorry, without consultation, will you please mark your ballot and select thereby number 1, number 2, or number 3. Okay, now have you marked your ballot, panel? Everybody? Kitty, don't glare at me. Molly, for whom did you vote?
I'm stuffed with questions.
I voted for number 3, not on any of the questions. I know very little, actually, about Russia. But while they were standing up there, number 1 was quite nervous. Number 2's knees were trembling. And number 3 seemed completely at ease. And I figure if you're an actress, you should be at ease.
Oh, boy.
I figured.
Conrad, for whom did you vote?
But I voted for number 2 because she looks like a good actress and a good sniper.
And Kitty, your vote, please.
Well, by a process of elimination, I didn't think number 1 was terribly sure of what play she was in, and number 2 said Golitsyn as though she meant it. I don't know.
And hi, Gardner.
Well, I was going to vote for number 3, but I voted for 1. The Crocodile is an alleged humor publication in Russia. But number 1 corrected the last name of her father, and I think number 3 said something about Obolensky, and that'd be a name that I'd pick out, too, if I was thinking of that line.
Okay, there we have it. Of course, they all 3 had different last names, but that's beside the point. In any event, we've had our minds made up, and you have made yours, too, I'm sure. Let's find out right now. Which one of these 3 ladies is the real former Russian actress and army lieutenant? So will the real Kyra Petrovskaya please stand up? Thank you very much. Number 1, would you tell us who you really are and what you do, please?
My name is Milka Obreshko. I'm a native Bulgarian. I'm an announcer in The Voice of America, and I work in Rosette Pennington, a shop in New York.
Thank you. And number 2, what about you?
My name is Tekla de Volkov. I am the general manager of Restaurant Maxime de Paris and take care of all their business in the United States.
Thank you very much. And checking up on our score, we find that Polly was right and the rest were wrong.
Me, I was the only
That's
one.
right, you did it, boy. You came back real smashing strong.
wrong.
I know, but tonight you changed the tide. So that means that $250 per wrong guess. There were $750 total there for Marlboro. Thank you very much, ladies. Good night. Good luck on your way out. Pick up your carton of Marlboro. Okay, let's have our third team of challengers.
What is your name, please?
My name is Mike Price.
What is your name, please?
My name is Mike Price.
What is your name, please?
My name is Mike Price.
Again, panel, will you follow along with your copies of this final affidavit? I, Mike Price, am a freelance writer. During the past 10 years, I have held more than 70 different jobs. At various times during my career, I have worked as dynamite handler, bartender, stove salesman, uranium prospector, bellhop, gag writer, soda jerk, prize fighter, writing instructor, blackjack dealer, painter, disc jockey, doorman, toy demonstrator, chauffeur, cab driver, circus roustabout, truck driver, waiter, lifeguard, nightclub comic, auto salesman, sandwich counterman, apprentice carpenter, carnival barker, golf caddy, gas station attendant, bank clerk, radio announcer, construction worker, mirror cutter, insurance salesman, research poll taker, and many others. At the present, I am unemployed. Signed, Mike Price. Incidentally, each of our contestants, our challengers, that is, tonight, will receive one of our To Tell the Truth games. If you'd like to play To Tell the Truth, incidentally, any night of the week, you can buy one at your local toy or department store. All right, panel, these three gentlemen all claim to be, as you heard, Mike Price, dynamite handler, bartender, stove salesman, uranium prospector,
We don't
et cetera,
have time,
et cetera, et cetera. Now we start with Kitty Carlisle. Kitty?
Number one, what is the professional nomenclature when you're calling for a ham and egg on rye?
I don't know.
Number two, what was the longest job you ever had?
3 months,
And what was the shortest job you ever had?
20 seconds.
Well, what was that?
Prize fighter.
Number three, you were a dynamiter. What's the longest fuse you ever used?
I never used a fuse.
What'd you use?
I just unloaded trucks that carried dynamite.
Ah. Number three, what is soup?
Soup?
Mm-hmm.
That's TNT.
Uh-huh. I might as well have stayed home tonight.
Hi, Gardner.
Number three, you say you're a bellhop. What is the more dignified name given to men who are in that particular calling?
I do not know.
Do you know number two?
No, I do not.
Number one?
No, I do not.
They like to be called bellmen, I'm told. You held 70 jobs in 10 years, number one. What type of freelance writing do you do besides write letters answering help wanted ads?
I just write anecdotes and things that I try and get published.
Uh-huh. Well, you just lost a job tomorrow. Number two, from what particular form of employment are you now out of work?
Well,
What was your last job?
My last job happened to be a magazine ripper.
A magazine ripper?
Yes, it's
What
quite
do you
odd.
do, buy up old copies of Confidential?
Just about.
Polly Bergen, please.
Number one, it said you used to be a blackjack dealer. What does crimping mean?
Crimping is folding a card.
Number two, could you tell me what crimping means?
Well, I might incriminate myself. Crimping would be, during the course of the game, marking one of the higher cards.
Number three, what is a soft 17?
Soft 17, that's an ace and a 6.
And number one, it said you also were a golf caddy. Is there such a thing as a 7.5 iron?
Not to my knowledge.
Number two, is there such a thing?
Might be a new weapon, I don't know.
Conrad?
No.
Number one says you worked in a circus and a carnival. What does the expression, hey, Rube, mean?
No, it means come and help me. I'm in a fight.
Do you think that's correct, number two?
Yes.
Number three, is that correct?
I don't know.
Number one, if you worked as a golf caddy and I was in soft sand, what number club would you give me? What kind of a club would you give me?
A 9 or an 8 iron?
Number two, what would you give me?
Soft sand?
Yes.
Last start, I'd say 9 iron.
Number three, what would you give me?
I was a golf caddy for 2 days. I don't know.
Okay, before paying the caddy, this is now time to vote. So again, will you please mark your ballots, panel? In so doing, you will select number 1, number 2, or number 3. Okay, panel, have you marked your ballots? Polly, for whom did you mark this time?
Well, I know it's number 3 because he just didn't know anything. and they're always the ones. I didn't mean that in a derogatory manner, but I mean, when you're the real one, you know, you have to tell the truth, and sometimes you just don't know.
Why didn't you vote for him?
But well, because number 2 knew a few things, and so it's really between the two of them. Could I split it down the middle?
You want to vote for 2.5?
Yes.
No, I'm sorry, you can't. All right, Conrad.
I think it's number 3, though. Could I change? No.
Number 1 and number 2 did not get me out of the sand, and number 3 was a little bit vague about it, so I voted for number 3.
Okay.
A little bit vague about it?
Kitty.
Well, I figured none of them had a time in any of these jobs to learn how to do anything properly. So I voted for number 2 on the fact that he could have been a prize fighter.
Okay, and hi, Gardner, please.
Well, I voted for number 3. I fell into the same sand trap that Conrad Nagel did. But besides, he seems to have a lot of natural color, which you would get going from place to place looking for work, you know?
All right, there we have it. You know how we voted. Let's find out whether we were right or wrong now, as we will discover which one of these 3 gentlemen is the real dynamite handler, bartender, stove salesman, prize fighter, etc., etc., etc. So will the real Mike Price please stand up? Oh. What'd you say?
Couldn't you have cheated a little? I wanted to get them all right tonight. It's the first time.
But all you wanted was 2.5. That wouldn't have got you anywhere.
You could have pointed or given me a number of the tables.
Well, you really threw them that time. Let's find out about the others. However, number 2, what do you do and what is your name, please?
I'm Thomas O'Connor. I'm co-owner of the American Employment Agency, the Appeal Employment Agency, Commercial Employment Agency, the Park Employment Agency, all located on East 42nd Street.
Thank you, sir. And number 3, what about you?
My name is Gordon Lee. I'm a ticket agent for National Airlines.
Thank you, sir. I'm just a little bit curious. Quickly, Mike, how come you've had so many jobs?
Well, Bud, I want to write, and I like to write well, and I'd like to write about America, and I wanted to know about all these things all over the country, so I just went out and did it.
Boy, you're going to have plots galore, is all I can say.
Is he eligible for unemployment insurance?
Well, he doesn't need it now because there were 4 incorrect votes at $250 each for a total of $1,000 from Marlboro. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Good night and good luck. That's all the time we have. Once again, nice having you with us, Conrad. Come back often, will you?
Thank you, Bud.
And Polly, you're deserting us next week for the Milton Berle show. I'm surprised at you.
Well, I'm going to California.
To all of you folks and to our panel, too, we remind you that voluntary health and welfare services depend completely on your support, and they need it more than ever. So make your contribution this year to your United campaign in your neighborhood more than ever, will you please? That's it. Good night, panel.
Good night.
Good night, Bud.
Now, this is Bud Collier saying good night from Marlboro and reminding you to tell the truth. Good night, everybody.
To Tell the Truth is a Mark Goodson, Bill Codman production in association with the CBS Television Network. Miss Bergen's Gone by Wilmot.